All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Scott Wyden Kivowitz. I work for Imagely. I'm also a photographer. You're going to learn a little bit about me and about Imagely and whatnot in this free Facebook Live webinar. I need to make sure that you can hear me. We tried to do this last week, and there were some technical difficulties, but we figured it out, and we think we should be able to hear us now. We did some tests privately, and it was working. So please, if you're watching, just comment. Let us know if you can hear it. All right, I got a thumbs up. I want one more thumbs up or a comment saying you can hear me, just so I can make sure. I need to make sure you can hear me so that I don't go through this again. All right, so can hear perfectly. All right, so let's dive into this. I'm gonna launch this right now. Now, hold on, secondary display. There we go. Okay, so while I am presenting, I will not be able to hear or see your comments. I just won't be able to, unfortunately. So what is going to happen is, because the reason why is because the comments are now being taken up by the two screens I have. I have one screen that's showing my own notes and one screen showing the actual presentation. So I won't be able to see your comments or your likes or anything. I will check the comments when I'm done with the actual presentation part of this, and I will be able to answer any questions you might have at that time. And yeah, so, definitely comment, definitely ask questions. We'll get to it, I promise, as soon as I'm done. And this should be about 30 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the question. So let's dive into this. So before we go actually into the presentation, I want to tell you about who I am. I am the Chief Community Officer here at Imagely. I'm a New Jersey born and raised guy. I'm a father for almost 3 years, photographer for almost 20 years, a WordPresser since version 1.0 in 2003. I'm an educator for over 10 years, and even though I've been doing YouTube videos for a long time, I've really been diving into YouTube, becoming a YouTuber for the past year. So I do have a lot of videos on YouTube if you want to check that out. You just search for my name. So, a brief history on Imagely. We started out as Photocrati. It was an educational blog for photography. And then we created the Photocrati theme out of that, and then launched the Photocrati Fund, which is a $5,000 humanitarian environmental grant for photographers. It's not a loan, it's a grant. Then we acquired DSLRblog.com, we acquired 7by5.net, we acquired photographersseo.com, and then we launched Best of Wedding Photography. And the business was growing, so we found some directions we wanted to go, and we acquired NextGen Gallery, one of the most popular WordPress plugins of all time, with 1.3 million users. And then there was a big shift that we decided to make, and we rebranded as Imagely. And during that rebranding, we switched the Photocrati Fund to the Imagely Fund. We sold photographersseo.com and DSLRblog.com. And we recently acquired TeslaThemes.com. And as I speak, we're in the process of acquiring ShowThemes.com. In fact, we now own it. We're just in the process of migrating everything to us. So that is brand new. You're the first people to hear this. The blog announcements haven't even gone out yet about it, but we're very happy about this. If you're interested in learning what ShowThemes is, then definitely check that out. Basically, it's event themes. Okay, so that's the history. Now, what we're working on is PrintLab integration, professional PrintLab integration for WordPress that is coming soon for photographers. Advanced and fully automated tax system. I believe we're using TaxJar, and not only that, but we're covering the costs of it, so you don't even have to worry about it. We're just covering it for you. And then we have 2 secret projects going on, and of course, we're hiring. So if you happen to be a photographer who also does development, or you do front-end design, or customer support, stuff like that, get in touch. We're hiring a variety of things. So just visit the website and click the contact button to get in touch with us. So please be awesome. Share this Facebook Live event with your friends right now. Take a moment and share it. I want to make sure that anybody that's a photographer that either is in the process of launching their site or have already launched their site and need to find ways to improve it, this is perfect for them. It's free. Just share this with them so they can join in. And of course, you are awesome for watching this. So thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me in this Facebook Live event. All right, before I do that, I'm going to just check my phone real quick. I know comments are coming in, So I am going to check my phone to see. Okay, so before I dive in, I'm looking at the comments on my phone. One person saying no sound. Can you just please comment again? Are you hearing me, or you're not hearing me? Because that is very, very important. I will switch off the presentation if you cannot hear me. Just comment again, or give me a thumbs up or some sort of something. Let me know you can hear me. And one question so far was from Robert Walker, is that Canadian taxes also? Yes, that is worldwide. We are going to have a fully automated tax system worldwide. You don't have to worry about setting it up or anything. You just turn it on and it'll work. So that's a beautiful thing. All right. I need to make sure. Yes, there is sound. Thank you, Robert. All right. So I'm going to keep going then. Okay. So, before launching your website, your photography website, there are 12 essential tasks. We're going to dive into all 12. As you will realize, there is a lot more than 12, that each of these items is basically broken down to a lot of other items. So, although I'm saying there's 12, it's probably more like 50 or 100, but you're going to get the overall picture here of things that are important. So first, design. How does it look and feel? Are you happy with your design? And what do others think of your design? You need to share it with your friends, share it with your family, ask them to browse your website on various devices, checking both desktop and mobile views, because remember, mobile is going to get more traffic these days than desktop. And you also need to check different operating systems and browsers. For example, Windows on Chrome or Windows on Edge, or Mac on Chrome or Mac on Safari. You know, how is it functioning on all these different configurations, and can they navigate the website easily, or does the menu system break for some reason on mobile versus desktop? Is there a clear funnel that you've created for people to visit your site and then contact you? And is the design you? Okay, now there are tons of designs out there. Heck, Imagely makes our own WordPress themes, but sometimes you need a design that really is you. Okay, not just a standard template. You could buy a template and then customize it so that it's you, or you can just hire somebody to build you a website from scratch that is you. And you don't have to look at other photographers' websites and say, okay, well, they're using all these squiggly fonts, so I should use it. No, if that's not you, don't do it, because you're going to sell yourself to the wrong people then. Images. So there's tons of stuff you need to do to images, some of which are alt text or alternative text, which is important for search engine optimization. You want to make sure you check your images so that every image has an alt text explaining what the image is about. Now, I'm not saying to just say, purple flowers. I'm saying and say what type of flowers. Purple flowers in a field in Wyoming on a clear blue sunny day, that kind of thing. Be very descriptive. It's good for SEO, but it is also good for accessibility when somebody with a disability is viewing your website. So be sure to optimize your images for quality and for speed. Using tools like JPEG Mini Pro and Imagify, they can really make a difference on your website speed. Okay, so these will compress and not over compress to the point where you're losing image quality, but compress it to the point where it saves, it gets rid of the unnecessary data that's just taken up, file size space. And lastly, be sure to only show your most stunning images in your portfolio. And I'm thinking maybe 10 to 20 at most per category. So if you're a wedding photographer who also does engagements, who also does, family portraits, 10 to 20 in each for the portfolio. Okay? But on your blog side, of course, you can post as many as you want, and they can be, photos that you love, but may not be your absolute best, most stunning images. So this is everybody's favorite topic, is the legal side of the photography business. Every website should have a legal page stating the website's terms and privacy policy. Okay, if you do not have one and you need help getting one, then check out Rachel Branke's bundle at the URL that you see here on the screen. So this is an affiliate link, so we do make a little cut off this, very tiny percentage of the sale, but basically Rachel Branke is a lawyer and a photographer. She's a barred lawyer in multiple states, and she is a photographer. She owns multiple studios. And Rachel has tons of templates for different legal documents that you need in your photography business. All you do is you fill in the blanks. And then you basically take that, send it to your lawyer, and say, is this relevant for me? And then you're done. And you'll get a stamp of approval or maybe a minor tweak here and there depending on your actual location. Because Rachel can't design templates for every location. So you need to just make sure it's specific for your location in the end. But if you're in a country that requires a cookie consent when somebody browses your website, like if you're tracking your site's visitors, which you should, then be sure to add a cookie consent approval bar. And there are WordPress plugins that can do this. You just got to Google it and you'll be able to find one. And basically, when somebody goes to your site, it'll say, this site tracks you, blah, blah, blah. For legal purposes, you need to consent to that. And somebody has to hit OK on the bar. It's kind of silly. This happens in the UK and I think in other places, but you got to do what you got to do. You need an about page. You need to talk about, who you are and why people should care. It should be about you, and it should have a portrait of you, the photographer. If you don't have a portrait of yourself, hire another local photographer to capture a portrait of you. These pages should be light and fun. It should be for people to connect with you more. It shouldn't be just about you. It should be a way for people to get to know you on a very engaging level, on a way that they can really connect on a deep, deep level. Then there's the contact form. So I prefer contact forms on contact pages. Okay, some people put the contact information on the about pages. I prefer having them separate. It doesn't make a difference where you do it, but you need to have a way for somebody to contact you, okay? I prefer contact forms. Many people can't stand them, and that is why it's also important to show your actual email address. And if you don't want to show your good email address, create an alias that forwards to you with a filter. So that way if somebody is just copy and pasting your email address from the contact page, that it's not going to be spam necessarily. Or maybe if it is spam, you can filter it out easily. So you might get spam. That's okay. Just deal with it. If you use Gmail, it's pretty good at blocking spam from reaching your inbox, so you don't have to worry about it there. So, if you're not using Gmail or G Suite, then maybe you want to consider it. Your contact page should include each of these items clearly and visually, okay? Name, email, phone, address, and social. Now, address, if you have a P.O. box, okay, now you should also include a map, really, like a Google map of where you are. If you have a P.O. box, it's not going to help your search engine optimization at all because Google is actually looking for physical addresses, specifically more in the center of a city. But if you have a studio, that's an actual address, physical address of a studio, put that on your contact page and add a Google map. That is going to help your local search engine optimization. And you should also have either a success message or a redirect to a thank you page after somebody fills out the contact form. Either of these are good for tracking in Google Analytics as goals and in Google and Facebook for ads. Okay? You can either add a script to a success message, or you can just have it track from where contact form is to the thank you page, and there's your actual conversion method. These are fantastic. If you are not doing that with your contact forms, jump on that right away so you can actually track your conversions. Backups. So many hosts offer a free backup system. If yours does not, or if you want redundancy, then check out either Backup Buddy, which is an annual price, or WP Time Capsule, which is a freemium platform, which means they have a free plugin, and then you can upgrade for more features. And WP Time Capsule is like Apple's Time Machine, where it's incremental. It only backs up stuff that has changed. And it keeps it for 30 days. So if you add a new image, it's going to back that up. And then if you wind up deleting that image, it'll keep that image for 30 days, and then it'll delete that after 30 days. So it's incremental, and it goes to either Google Drive, to Dropbox, or to Amazon S3. It doesn't take up too much space because it's only keeping what's on your site. But if you have a big site, it could take up a lot of space. It all depends, right? So my site's about 8 gigs or so it takes up 8 gigs in my Google Drive. Many themes and plugins also offer export options for their settings. I recommend exporting them once a month if you change your settings often. Otherwise, just once a year is fine. All right? So, plugins like Yoast SEO, they include an export option for your settings. And it doesn't change often enough to warrant backing it up on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. I back up my Yoast SEO settings twice a year because usually they have a major update twice a year. Now I'm going to take a moment and just look to see if there's any comments. So give me a second. I'm looking on my phone to see if there's any comments. Okay, nothing else yet. Again, if you have any comments, feel free to post those comments in the video, so that in the live stream, so that I can answer them either in as I see it or at the end of the presentation. Okay, security. Many hosts offer security monitoring. Again, if yours does not, or if you want redundancy, then check out WordFence. But now, I guess before I move on, WordFence is a security plugin that is sort of live scanning the activity on your site, and it scans your entire WordPress folder on a scheduled basis to look for anything that's malicious or out of place and things like that. WordFence is fantastic. It doesn't hard code any changes to your server, so you don't risk breaking other plugins like so many other security plugins do. But it is fantastic. It is a little bit more resource intensive. If you are on a shared server like a GoDaddy or a Bluehost or anything like that, I recommend turning off the live scanning. If you are on a host like WP Engine, then you will find that they actually disallow WordFence and many other security plugins because it's redundant to their own security measures. Okay. In addition to that, also set a strong password for yourself and others who have access to your site. If you install a security plugin, or if you're on a host that forces strong passwords, you don't have to worry about it. It does it for you. Also consider two-factor authentication for any editors or admins. Anybody who can make changes on your site should have two-factor authentication. Basically what this is you get a PIN number, either text, SMS, text message to you, or an app on your phone like 1Password or Google Authenticator to show you this temporary PIN that lasts for about 10 seconds. So you go to your website, you put in the username and password, it asks for the temporary PIN, you open up the app or check your text, and then you got the temporary PIN to use. That's two-factor authentication. If you upgrade your iPhone to iOS 11, you are forced to use two-factor authentication for iCloud now. So if you don't know what two-factor is and you're using iOS 11 soon, you will find out. Your site should also have an SSL certificate in place. So this means that your domain will actually include HTTPS instead of just HTTP. Many hosts offer a free SSL certificate through a company called Let's Encrypt. So there is no excuse anymore for not having HTTPS as your site. And this is HTTPS everywhere, meaning every page on your site should be HTTPS. All right? Now, there are things that you should do if you are switching from HTTP to HTTPS, which is having everything redirected, but hopefully your host will help that with you because, they should. You're paying them to. All right. Google the things. All right. Google offers some of the best website tools for search engine optimization and more. So be sure to set up and connect Google Tag Manager and then include Google Analytics for statistics and Google Optimize for conversion optimization. Now, again, Google Analytics is going to how you track your visitors, what they're doing, any e-commerce activity, stuff like that. Google Optimize is to basically do A/B testing on your site. It's a very visual way of doing it. It's fantastic and it's free. And you could actually activate those on your site and then implement the script using Google Tag Manager, which is a visual way to add scripts like the Facebook Pixel and the Twitter Pixel and the Pinterest Pixel and anything you want to use for tracking. And then all you have to do on your site is install a Google Tag Manager plugin, add the Google Tag Manager ID that you're given, and now you have Google Tag Manager with Analytics and Optimize on your site. Lastly, you also want to activate Google Search Console. It used to be called Webmaster Tools. And that is how you can ensure your site is being well seen by Google. You can see where you're ranking for what keywords, and and if you're having any 404 errors and stuff like that, you can see all of it right from there. Email is next. If you do not already have email set up with your domain, now is the time to do so. Before launching, nothing makes a photographer look more unprofessional than an AOL, a Yahoo, or similar email address. So make sure your email address is your domain. Do it now. G Suite, Zoho Mail. You can even do what I do, and I just have a forwarding email address that is, my scottwine.com email address. It forwards to my Gmail. Gmail uses an alias, and it sends back as that, and that's it. It's so simple. Or if you don't want to use G Suite or Zoho Mail, which are now paid, you can also use your registrar. Some give you email for free, some do not. I use hover.com for all my domains. And for one of the sites, I'm using their email, and it's like $10 a year or something, or $5 a year for the email address. So it's not so bad. So this is experience. This is going to sound similar to design, but it's a little different. So before launching your site, ask your friends and family to check it out. Check out your site and ask for feedback on how the experience feels. Meaning, each page that they go to, is it working? Is there interactivity? Is there a gallery that loads? Is there an e-commerce system? Is there proofing? Is there contact forms? Is there an opt-in system? All this stuff. Make sure that any funnels that are there, that they walk through it to book you, check the experience on both desktop and mobile, and even on multiple operating systems. So again, it's just like design, except this is more the functionality side. You need to make sure that any functionality on your site is actually doing its job, that it's working. Next is speed. This is important for two things: user experience and search engines. People have short attention spans these days, so you have about 2 to 5 seconds for site load before, and that depends on the device, before somebody will click away. On mobile, it really depends. On some people are on the shorter side of attention, and some people are on the longer side because they know that things load longer on mobile. So use tools like Pingdom, Pingdom, and GTmetrix to determine how your site is doing. If it's slow, consider a CDN, a content delivery network. Consider caching. I prefer WP Rocket Cache for all my caching needs. Or even consider changing hosts. Hosts like Bluehost and any other shared host, HostGator, they're notorious for being slow. Because they're on shared host, it means you're sharing a server with maybe 100 other websites. Maybe even more, maybe 100 other customers with, 10 websites each. So if you wind up implementing caching, be sure to test your site while logged out and in different browsers to ensure nothing is broken. Because although caching plugins are fantastic for helping your site speed up, they're also notorious for breaking stuff. So make sure you test that. All right, the last section is the blog. I like to say that your blog is your everlasting gobstopper. It's your not-so-secret marketing weapon. So before launching your photography website, make sure that you have a handful of blog posts published and ready to publish. You might also want to have an editorial calendar in place so you can easily drag and drop your content, and that way you can easily organize future content for publishing and scheduling. If you are not good at blogging, if you don't think you want to blog, check out companies like Photoscribe. That basically they're like ghostwriters for photographers. They will work with you to create blog content for your website for a fee, of course. Or you can go to websites like Odesk or other systems like that have tons of people that can write for you. But if you're for the photo industry, Photoscribe is really the company to use. Now, I'm not here to pitch you any paid products. I just want you to know that there are a ton of freebies available on the Imagery website So if you go to imagely.com/freebies, there's a bunch of stuff here that you can learn from, utilize, and just really, really take advantage of for your photography website, including a booking form template and a contact form template that are extremely, extremely beneficial. Imagely.com/freebies to get access to those. This is me. You can find me at imagely.com, of course. You can listen to the WordPress photography podcast, imagely.com/podcast. I'm the host of this, and I just talk with tons of photographers about their photography websites, their experiences. And it's not just, even though it's a WordPress photography podcast, we talk about photography websites. I talk with tons of people that are using Squarespace and other platforms. I also run the Facebook group WordPress for Photographers. You can join me there. Just apply to join and fill in the form of about you so that I can accept you. And of course, if you want to learn more about me and see my own website, running on Imagely's Anvil theme and using the Elementor Pro page builder plugin, check out scottwyden.com, and that's how you can learn more about me. And let me switch over to here so you can see me again and go back to here. All right, so there's one question so far. Question is, the images when finished here are full res. The most common issues I've had are what to size them out for desktop, tablet, and phone. The phone resize feature is a 0 gain. You only see a quarter at best. So should they all be sized the same, etc.? Front page scroll versus gallery size. What are your feelings on workflow in its totality for all of this? So as far as images go, my usual recommendation is to do, depending on the server you're on, if you're on a fast server, then going 2048 pixels at the longest length will be the ideal image size, because first, your server, if you're on a fast server, a dedicated server, a VPS, a cloud server, if you're using a CDN on top of that, and so on, you have a fast server, 2048 is nothing. So it'll load fast and be big enough for a big screen and big enough for a small screen at the same time. So you have no problem with that at all, and load time should be good if you're on a good server. If you're on a small server, somewhere between 800 pixels and 1400 pixels, the longest length is what I recommend. If you're on a shared host, go smaller. Unfortunately, you got slow servers to deal with, so you're gonna have to go with smaller images. And just go with the same for all. So if vertical and horizontals, 800 at the pixels longest length, 2048 at the longest length. The reason why I say 2048, by the way, is tablets. That is the ideal size for a tablet, like an iPad screen. So 2048 will actually fill the tablet perfectly. Don't worry about Retina type stuff for the large images, because they're already large. But you want to make sure you have Retina on for thumbnails, anything that's tiny. If you're using NextGen Gallery, NextGen Pro, you turn on the resize feature and the backup original feature, and now you have Retina on. So on smaller screens, or Retina screens, it'll look sharp and look good on regular screens as well, no problem. So, front page scroll versus gallery sizes. I'm not sure what that question means, but feel free to rephrase. Anyway, Tina asks, when I sign up with you, will you help me with all of this? So, if you buy an Imagely product, our support team is there to help with your needs for our products. We can't really help you with other people's products, but usually if you're buying a product, there'll be a support team to help you with it. So yeah. Any other questions before I finish this up? You need me to go back to a slide or anything? Jose says, as usual, a lot of info compacted in a short time. Well, that's my goal. I want to keep this about 30 minutes, and I think I just accomplished it. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so this is going to be made available. This is going to be on Facebook, of course. So feel free to watch this over and over again. I'm going to go out with showing you a video, and that's it. So thank you for spending this 30 minutes with me, and have an awesome day. And again, feel free to add more comments to the video, because I can always comment and reply to those later.
NextGen Gallery is already the most popular gallery plugin ever for WordPress. Yeah, and now it's time to raise the bar. Introducing Premium Extensions. You can now add dozens of features to your galleries, including mosaic and masonry galleries, a full-screen Pro Lightbox, social sharing, and image protection. You can provide proofing galleries, sell prints and digital downloads, and publish your photos directly from Adobe Lightroom. And responsive design means your photos look beautiful on any device. Really, the sky's the limit. So, go pro today.